really grinding my gears. Time now for the Menzoid monologue. Imagine being fully aware and intelligent, yet trapped in a body that has cruelly conspired against you. Just consider the likes of a Stephen Hawking, an intellectual giant, albeit someone who cannot move a single meter nor utter a solitary syllable unless aided by technology. Closer to home, consider the story of 10-year-old Jacob Trossman of Toronto. Jacob is a smart kid who, similar to Hawking, has been dealt a terrible hand. Jacob is afflicted with a rare disease known as PMD. As such, he is confined to a wheelchair. Jacob is a bright kid, and he's under-challenged at his current school, Sunnyview, so last year, Jacob's mother, Marcy White, arranged to have Jacob attend Elkhorn Public School. He attended class there every Friday afternoon and was exposed to various disciplines including French, music, and art. Not only was he intellectually challenged, he was also socially integrated, making several new friends. But after a newspaper story was published about Jacob's progress, certain bureaucrats at the Toronto District School Board inexplicably took exception. See, folks, evidently they don't like the idea of students going to different schools unless the idea emanates from them. Thus, they told Marcy that Jacob was persona non grata at Elkhorn, despite his progress. TDSB Superintendent Rhoda Dickinson, meanwhile, suggested Jacob could better interact with the kids at a different school, Blythewood. Dickinson told Marcy that Jacob could be placed in the basement and he could look through a window so that he could observe able-bodied kids taking part in phys ed classes. That's her definition of integration. So to recap, Jacob wants to go to Elkhorn. His parents want him to go to Elkhorn. His teacher and principal at Elkhorn want him to go to that school. His classmates want him to go to Elkhorn. So what's the stumbling block? The problem apparently is a mean-spirited TDSB bureaucrat by the name of Donna Quan. Apparently, according to Quan, a child can indeed switch schools, although the new school cannot be the parent's choice. But get a load of this, folks. No such policy exists in writing. In fact, the TDSB does have a policy of providing maximum opportunities to students, quote, particularly those persons with disabilities whose voices traditionally and systematically have been marginalized and excluded. According to the TDSB's own mandate, all disabled children must have equal accessibility to a well-rounded education. Surely that doesn't mean storing a disabled child in the basement like some defective piece of machinery. Then again, the TDSB also has a gender equity policy, a policy it shamefully turns a blind eye to, given that the board has allowed Islamists to call the shots at Valley Park Middle School. Yes, folks, on Fridays, the Valley Park cafeteria is transformed into a gender apartheid mosque because, you see, since males are superior to females, boys sit at the front, girls sit at the back, and girls on their period sit way at the back, given that a girl is supposedly filthy at this time of month. Lovely. Members of the TDSB have offered a number of explanations as to why they won't let Jacob go to Elkhorn, one being the possible reaction of other parents to a handicapped child. Although, according to Marcy, no parents have objected to Jacob. It's actually quite the contrary. There's also the utterly disingenuous explanation that the board is unable to construct a ramp for Jacob, even though the school in question already has a ramp to accommodate the disabled. Oops. Bottom line, Quan and Dickinson are behaving in a manner so devoid of compassion, it actually borders on the inhumane. Surely the measure of our very species is how we treat those who are less fortunate. In addition to opposable thumbs, a disproportionately larger brain, and the ability to create fire, a quality that differentiates Homo sapiens from, say, a rattlesnake is that intangible known as empathy. When I contemplate empathy in the human condition and what sets us apart from those other tenets in the animal kingdom, I harken back to that heart-wrenching scene in David Cronenberg's 1986 movie, The Fly, Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldberg, is a scientist who is slowly transforming into a supersized housefly due to an experiment gone horribly wrong. Midway into his tragic metamorphosis, he tells his girlfriend Ronnie that in addition to losing his humanoid shape, he's also losing his humanity. Says Seth, "You have to leave now and never come back here. Have you ever heard of insect politics? Neither have I. Insects don't have politics. They're very brutal. No compassion, no compromise. We can't trust the insect. I'm saying I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it, but now the dream is over and the insect is awake, and I'm saying I'll hurt you if you stay." I would argue that self-inflated school board bureaucrats such as Quan and Dickinson, people who apparently take perverse glee in making life even more difficult for a handicapped 10-year-old boy, are closer to being bugs than humans in the empathy department. If only we could employ a fly swatter. And that's the Menzoid monologue.